Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are joined by Lauren Sullivan. She is a Hyrox athlete. She's a personal trainer at Manor in London. And she is also the world record holder for the most burpees in 24 hours, breaking that world record in 2022. So obviously we had to get her onto the podcast because the burpee broad jumps are like one of the most awful stations in Hyrox. So for somebody to voluntarily do 24 hours of burpees, we couldn't miss that opportunity to have a chat and get some tips. So welcome to the podcast, Lauren.
Thanks for having me on.
Well, we need to start there, I think. So back in 2022, what on earth made you decide that you wanted to do burpees for 24 hours?
I mean, I've always liked them. I know that's a bit of a controversial thing, but I have
That
always.
is controversial.
Like I've always found them like, as part of a workout. I've always quite enjoyed doing them. I always program them in my group sessions. I have to say I did not program for a long time after that because I felt like big time. It was actually lockdown when we had nothing else to do but sit there and ponder stupid ideas. And to be honest, I actually drank a lot of rosé one night and thought, you know, it's a really good idea. I'm going to break a world record. And obviously, a couple of glasses later, I had decided to send a message to Guinness World Record and fly. I was like burpees, looked at the 1 hour and was like, that's a bit boring, 12 hours, and then just decided 24 hours. And in that moment of one too many glasses of rosé, it was a great idea. I clicked submit. And I kind of actually forgot about it. And then a couple of weeks later, it was like, you've been accepted to do this 24-hour world record. And I was like, oh.
Oh, damn.
Good. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to have to post this on social media somewhere because I need to be held accountable to it. I've got it now. And I kind of posted it and everyone was like, you're crazy, but great, let's crack on. And then it kind of like spiraled from there, really. We decided to raise quite a lot of money for a charity, Rocks Recovery. They kind of help people that have been in the armed forces rehab afterwards. So like if they've kind of potentially had to leave or they've left after like serving a period of time, they help rehab them back into kind of like normal life and give them quite a lot of support. And it was just a kind of charity that had been quite close to Manor, the gym I work at. And we thought, let's raise some money for them. Let's make it a big event. And yeah, then the date was set and I cracked on with it. Basically, it was without a doubt the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, as you can imagine.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's one of those, people have hangovers. They're like, oh, what the hell did I do? Like, you just happened to sign up to the 24 hours of burpees.
Yeah, you know that term, like beer fear. I had rosé fear where I was just like, oh my goodness, I've done it. But yeah, I think it's hands down one of the best things I've ever done. Like, as much as it was horrendous, we raised a lot of money for charity, and I think for me, it like I never thought I could do anything like that. Like, I've always enjoyed training in a way that a lot of other people don't. Like doing the really horrible workouts and like pushing myself, like physically, I'd say, but mentally, I didn't know how far I could actually go with that. And I think that's what it was for me. Like, I think just giving an insight, like growing up, I always enjoyed sports, like playing sports and like being into fitness, but I think I probably largely did it from a punishment point of view, if that makes sense. Like I didn't do it because I thought, especially between like the ages of like 18 and 24, I didn't do it because I thought I'm enjoying this. I did it because I was like, oh, how can I be smaller? How can I be thinner? How can I be like burn calories or burn off the night before and all that kind of stuff? And I just kind of, that had been my mindset for so long. And I think this was the point for me where it actually changed in a way, because I was like, damn, you can actually do something that's quite impressive. And you didn't do it because you wanted to be like smaller, to lose weight, to do anything other than prove to yourself that actually you can actually do that. And I was just like, yeah, I think from that moment on, I've now actually, which isn't that long ago, to be perfectly honest, I've actually changed it completely and gone, I now train because I love training. And I train because I like to see how fit, how healthy I am. Obviously, a byproduct is that you look good in a way, but I think it's because I'm like, that's so cool. I could push my body to that point and I'm still okay. I mean, I was not okay for a few days, but I was okay eventually. Like I stress fractured both my wrists.
What, after doing
it? During, I kind of was getting these massive pains like 6 hours in. And I was like, what is happening here? Like, I've not had this before. And then there was a physio there actually. And he was like, I think you've stress fractured both your wrists from the impact of like hitting the floor. And I didn't think that, like in training, I was like, that's nothing that I thought would be an issue. I didn't train my wrists, right?
Yeah. I mean, even when you just kind of spoke about it that now, I was kind of thinking like, oh, 24 hours of burpees, like your legs, your hips, like must have been rinsed. My first thought wasn't your wrists, but like, that
thing.
Yeah, now you've said it, I'm like, well, you are like lowering yourself to the floor. I mean, without, I presume, thousands and thousands of times. Like, that's a lot of burpees.
How many did you do in the end?
6,000. It's the number that's ingrained in my head. 6,247.
6,247 burpees. I mean, it's just like I can't even get over that.
I went off way too hot. Like I think in the first 5 hours, I was averaging like 600 an hour. To the point that like I think I broke the record in 13 or 14 hours. So
oh my god!
It was 5,555. So I'd already beaten that 13 hours. I only did another 600, 700 and something because I think I got to the point that I was just throwing myself on the floor and I was like, I got really motion sick, like the movement of.
Oh God.
Like I was like, hadn't prepared for this. All the things I thought would happen didn't happen, like hips, legs, nothing, like back. Like I thought my back, I had back surgery like 6-7 years ago, like on a slip disc. So I think for me, it was like, that's going to go first. Like I remember it was my mum that was like, you're an idiot. You are doing this. You've had back surgery. What's going to happen? I was like, yeah, well, we'll just see, won't we? If I can't do it, I can't do it. But pretty sure I can. And nothing like that went. It was just my poor wrists. And even the next day, it was actually my mum's birthday the next day, and she had to feed me on her birthday. So I was trying to pick up cutlery, and I was like, I can't pick anything up. So
I mean, it's really not funny, but
honestly, she was like, it's my birthday. Thank you. Happy birthday to me. And I just sat there and I was just like, I can't eat steak in a restaurant with my hands. I was like, right, this is real. But I come back to being a 4-year-old, so it's good.
Oh, brutal.
I mean, impressive, bloody impressive. 24 hours is a really long time. I mean, but it clearly hasn't put you off burpees for life, because now you do Hyrox and there's burpees in Hyrox. So
like funnily enough, you think that'd be my favorite station. It's actually my least.
Is it still your least favorite? Do you not thinking it? Oh, this is easy. Like I'll be over in a few minutes.
And do you know what I did to Hyrox like 6 months after doing the record? I think it was, or like at a certain point, I thought, I'm gonna nail this. Nobody's got a chance. I was so slow because I think what I'd learned to do is endurance burpees, right? So I was good at.
Says no one ever.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think that's a phrase. I think you've just made up a new phrase. Endurance burpees.
Okay. That's what I'm good at. But honestly, I got to them. I was like, everyone's going past me here. I was like, what's happening? I was just slow at them.
Yeah. Okay.
So just because I couldn't get that speed out, because I've just been doing like continuously. So it was actually really interesting. So now I do train them a lot more, and I've got a lot better technique. But in the first ones I sat there, I remember that was the one moment I was like, I'm meant to be good at this, and I am not. So this is really awkward. I was like, you'll smash the burpees. I was like, yeah. Didn't though, did I? So
that's so interesting, isn't it? Like
style of training, like going from that to that. I think Hyrox is obviously endurance-y, like it
the overall
flick between those things, and in that station you need to be quick and then you run, and I just didn't have that in me. It was interesting to learn, actually.
But so taking it back, how did you train for 24 hours of burpees? Did you I know you said about the slip disc in your back, so did you think, oh, I need to put more effort into like getting a strong core, strong trunk, and like supporting my back? Or how did you train for it?
I'll be completely honest, I had no idea what I was doing. I googled it, like, how do you train? Tried to look at the women that had done it before, how did she train? And I was like, nothing on here, there's nothing that's going to help me. So first 2 months of training, I won't lie, I just carried on like doing what I normally do and just doing like workouts and that kind of stuff. Did a bit of strength training. It's not the forefront of how I train. I mainly run and do like obviously strength training to help that. But I eventually just realized that at the point it's all mental. So I had to get used to doing like, even if it was like I had my elbows when I was training, and I just was like, well, okay, I'm just gonna have to get on a bike, and an assault bike, because it's the worst piece of kit on earth. I just sit on it for 2 hours. I'm just gonna sit here 2 hours and just rattle out much as I can on the assault bike, because it was like, mentally that's horrible. And then when everything else started to feel a bit better, like elbows and stuff in training, I would just kind of set a timer and just burpee and burpee and burpee. For like, I think the max I did was about 6 hours in one go.
Oh, that's a lot. Yeah.
Like I didn't get as many as I did when I did the record, to be fair, in those first 6 hours. And I had breaks and stuff. It was just, it was a mental thing. Like I think people could do it. Like I'm just a PT, right? I had never done anything like it in my life. It was just mentally building up the fact that it is going to be horrible. But if I can do 6 hours by myself with no one else in the room, and it's just me with some music on, if there's loads of other people there watching, almost like the pressure and the adrenaline, you're like, well, I have to keep going. I think if I went back, I would train differently. Like I think I didn't put enough emphasis on things like my core, my wrists, clearly. Like I was broken for a good 2 weeks afterwards. So I think more strength training, I 100% include. I think I've realized the importance of that since doing it. Just to meet that my recovery would be better. And like in those bits where I had like a 10-minute rest and came back, I'd come in and my legs were just cramping, everything, because I just didn't have the strength element. I had the endurance, and that's the thing I was good at, but the power and the ability to kind of recover quickly, I didn't have that. I think I would train very, very differently this time. Very, very differently.
That's good though, and that's part of doing challenges, and like I guess your own like personal development, and as a PT as well, like, we're very much the same. It's good to put yourself in those, like, under those conditions and challenge yourself to something that you're not sure is even achievable. Like you said, you didn't even know whether you could do it. You trained as best you could. There was no information out there, so you did the training you thought was right. You've done this challenge now, and then you can work back and work out how you would do it better. So then if you did have a client or you're going to do something else, you can take those learnings into the next thing. You're not going to do another one a week.
Oh, great. I mean, I'm tempted to do something else. We actually did another one, to be fair, like 6 months later, that was a 40-hour workout. So myself and a couple of the members from the gym, someone wanted to raise money for a charity, and they're like, we're going to do a 40-hour workout. Are you in? I was like, oh, yes, fine, why not, let's do it. And we basically, I don't know if we've got the record. I think they're still trying to do it. Some of the footage got lost, which was heartbreaking. But yeah, so we had like basically every hour for 55 minutes we would have to train 40 hours. Yeah, that was arguably kind of worse than the burpees, because it was a bit more like lower intensity. So I think it was every hour you could have 5 minutes rest, but what we decided to do is do 4 hours on, 20-minute rest, 4 hours on, 20-minute rest. So we kind of cycled it like that. Staying awake for 40 hours is not fun.
I can imagine. Like, sleep deprivation's the worst, isn't it?
Yeah, there were 12 of us, so it was quite cool. Like 12 of us in MCP, the gym, and just moving basically the whole time, trying to eat as we went. Someone was eating a McDonald's on the skier, trying to move. I was like, this is chaos, but we did do it. And like, we got to 40 hours. It's just, we have to, we seeing if we got that one, because we lost a little bit of footage.
Yeah, I mean, what you have to go through and the records and stuff you have to do for Guinness is full on, isn't it? It's actually like harder arguably than the challenge itself at times. You're like,
it's uploading the videos, I think, I was like, why is it not happening? I'd leave it 4 hours, come back and be like, only one's gone up. I've got isn't it? Like
their system's quite like old and quite like backwards, isn't it? I remember I like, now you've just said that, I had a vision of us being in Glasgow uploading loads of videos, and we were like there for a weekend, and we'd been doing it for a week, and I had to take the laptops with us to carry on doing it, because we were still going. We just kept taking everything with us to try and upload these videos. But
you don't know how to do it, right? I was like, I'm not going to check. I haven't got a clue.
No.
Like
I think Guinness and its like world record and just the application process and in its entirety is hard work, isn't it, to navigate?
Yeah, and I had to have 2 people on the burpees. I had to have 2 people watching me at all times. One had to be a PT, one had to not be a PT.
Oh, really?
I've got a clicker somewhere that's got someone clicking. It's still on the number 6247. It never got taken off. Where they had to click every rep, and they had to check I was doing every rep correctly. Like if my feet didn't come up high enough, I had to have a line on the floor. If I didn't stand up tall, they'd be like, no rep, no rep. And at 2 a.m, you do not want to hear the word no rep.
And then if they're your mate, you end up falling out with them.
I was like, I'm looking at you and do not.
That was a rep.
It's like 2 of my friends came and they were like, do you remember, Lauren, in those 2 hours that we came, you didn't do one burpee? I was like, I'm so sorry. You could have come out and given us one. I was like, I couldn't at that point. I was done. No, cool. I'm so glad I did it. Like, it's changed my perspective on training, exercise, myself. And I think I was just a normal person. I am just a normal person that I just had no idea I could do it. So I think for me, it's just, it was an incredible experience, to be fair. And like the support from the people at Manor was unreal. People turned up at like 5 a.m. to watch me do my last hour.
That's so cool.
Good. At that point, I was like, I have to do a few now, because why not? It's just great. Really
I'll add to the tally. Didn't you finish it with people doing it with you as well? Like I've seen on the video, like I think everyone was doing it.
There that like from 6 a.m. on the 21st to 6 a.m. on the 22nd, I was never doing a burpee. I didn't do a single burpee by myself. Like,
that's incredible.
Constantly people rolling in, come and check I was all right, like giving me water, just like the whole time. Which I think it was kind of the moment where I saw like a group of people that some of them didn't really know me that well, right? It was just like completely selfless. They weren't doing it for anything else other than to try and help me get to what I needed to do. I think we kind of stood there, myself and my colleague Ryan, and we were like, wow, that was really impressive. Like that people just came at all times. Like some people slept there. I was like, what are you doing? You can go home. And then we were just sleeping in the gym. They were like, no, it's be all right. There's only a few hours left. Like, okay. So yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah, it's a sense of community, isn't it? It just makes it so much better. Like, that people are so kind and willing to give up their time to help support like someone else. To just people bring people up, don't they? They want to see you do it and they want to see you reach your goal. So like if they can help in any way, like it's a really nice thing to have.
Yeah, it's just mad. Like it's just I could not have done that if it was just me in a room.
Yeah, I mean it's brutal enough, isn't it? Imagine that.
No way that would happen. So I'm very when they came, because there's no way I could have done it otherwise. Good.
Oh mate, well, like absolute kudos to you, because that is incredible. And like just the mental, I mean we need to touch on the mental side of it, like we'll do that later. But taking it back, so you talked about like training before, and I know you said you didn't always enjoy training, but like back, or you did enjoy it but you didn't do it for the same reasons that you do it now. Yeah, maybe a lot more than most young girls, like to look good, to lose weight, to fit in. But taking it right back to school and stuff, were you a sporty kid at school? Did you what sports did you play, and like how did you get to where you are now as a PT at Manor? How can you talk us through a bit of your background?
Like I always loved sports growing up. Like I was obsessed with football and Man United. I think I had like my family were Catholic, so we had a Holy Communion, and apparently I got in the dress and I had my Man United kit underneath.
Oh, really?
I had the top of my socks on and my skull shirt on the back. And Mum was like, tuck that in. I was like, no, I'm not wearing the dress unless you let me wear the football kit. She's like, fine. So all the photos of me with my little collar sticking out on like that red shirt. So yeah, I loved football very, very early on, and kind of like loved that team sport element. And played that a little bit growing up. Went to secondary school, and my secondary school was quite heavily into sports. So every day after school, you'd play a sport. We also did marching, which was not like parade.
Marching?
Yeah, like march, like army march. It was quite a military school. So we did like march, this kind of stuff. So that was another side I didn't like of it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I was in the military and I hated marching.
Yeah, honestly.
Can't imagine being told to do it at school.
Honestly, so Wednesdays, Fridays, we marched, and one Sunday a month we did a parade for everyone. And our little beret, little kilt. It was
That's so cute.
Yeah, it was great. I got some great photos.
Did you have your Man U shirt on underneath your outfit then, or?
Not allowed there. That would have been banned from marching. But yeah, so like it was quite a military school. So I think the sport was really focused. So it's like basically hockey and netball, and then like obviously summer we had athletics, which I hated. So it's weird now that I love running, but I hated athletics. And you go out onto that field and they're like 1500 meter. I was like, oh.
Yeah,
it's I could like. Who wants to be running around the field and come last? I was always near the end.
Yeah.
Always last out of the group. I was like, I just don't like this. And I think that for me, like, it's quite pressured at school, right? You've got sports, you get into them and all that kind of stuff. So I think left, went to university, played like hockey in my first year, didn't really do much second year, and then played rugby in my third year, which was great fun. Like, loved it. I think I just liked the team sport element. So I think I just played team sports. I hadn't really gone to the gym. I'd done a little bit of running, but I hadn't actually gone to the gym or done anything. I just played team sports, and you kind of go to the gym a bit with those. And then left university and kind of got into the gym, I'd say. Like, came to London. I did a history degree, so nothing to do with what I did now at all. And I couldn't tell you anything I learned, to be perfectly honest. I spent most of my time probably playing sport or drinking.
Yeah, fair.
So I look back and I'm like, who let me make a decision to do a degree at that point? I was in no state to be doing that. Yeah, left, and then that's when I kind of started getting into the gym. I actually went into sales and recruitment for 2 years on leaving uni, just to thinking the streets are paved with gold, and they're certainly not. So did that for 2 years, and then was kind of like, oh, I think I'm spending a lot of my free time in the gym, and maybe if I make that into my job, I'll probably enjoy it quite a lot. So quit, did a PT course, got a job in London as a PT, and then it basically just unraveled from there. Did my own personal training here and there, so that I rented out those different gyms, started building a PT business, and it got to about 2 years in, I was like, I'm a bit lonely and I'd like some friends, because it was quite, like, London's quite a lonely place anyway if you don't really know anyone. I had a partner at the time, but it was just kind of very insular. So found Manor and just said, look, can I bring my PT stuff across to you? Coach some group sessions. I used to be so terrified of speaking in front of like a big group of people. Like, I'd always just like shrink into the background and be like, I don't want to talk to anyone. And they were like, yeah, come in, show us how you teach a group session. I was like, what? How many people are going to be there? Like 20? 20. I was like, I can't do that. So I kind of sit there like shaking, like, now we do a burpee and now we do this. Like, oh God, what's happening here? But they let me join, so that was good. And that was 7 years ago, maybe.
Oh wow.
So I've been there quite a while and just kind of built it up from there. Obviously coach classes, do PT, write the Hyrox program now. And then like, in terms of getting into fitness, I think joining that gym, I'd done a couple of marathons and all that kind of stuff, but joining Manor, it was a group of people that were just as mental as I am, in a really good way. Like, they like doing, like, there's always someone that will do that workout with you, or there's always someone that's going to say, why don't you try this, or like push yourself to do that. And I think that for me was when I went, all right, let's see if you can be good at some of these things, and kind of ended up loving training, loving burpees somehow, loving running, and then obviously then found Hyrox like 2021, I think I did my first one. So it's been a bit of a journey. I think going from being alone and just training alone is probably when I was at my most not like unhealthy relationship with training, I'd say. Like, I didn't have anyone to train with. I was just training, and I was like, what am I training for? I'm not actually enjoying it. It's like I said earlier, just to be smaller, just to be X, Y, Z. And then found a group of people that were like, let's do this for fun. I was like, okay, let's go and have some fun in the gym, rather than just slogging away on the treadmill or doing something like that. And I think that just kind of like changed my outlook on it, really.
Yeah, that's the thing. And it's like surrounding yourself in like-minded people, and people that like push you to be better, and then like doing that group training to potentially push you to try harder. And like, you need a balance. You can't obviously like smash yourself every session, and like, you know, that like, usually you learn that the hard way. But like, and group training can be great for that, because you do push yourself. But it's just nice to be able to like surround yourself in people that kind of bring you up and encourage you to sign up to the race or do the 24-hour burpee record, like, and all those different kind of things. Like, it's what you need, just like from a gym and a group of friends, isn't it?
Yeah, like, it's like, I don't know how many siblings or anything like that, but it felt like joining a big group of like brothers. Like, there's quite a lot of guys. It was just, I hadn't ever had that before. Like, at my school, it was boys and girls segregated and all that kind of stuff. So I hadn't had that element of guys just actually geeing you up and being like, go on, why don't you give it a try? You could actually do that. And it was, just very refreshing. I think just from there.
Yeah. And that's a good kind of, sorry, if I go for it.
No, I was just going to say, and training for performance as well over appearance. And I think maybe, like you said, like training with guys and stuff as well, it just brings that different. I know guys train for like appearance as well, and it's not just females, but I feel like females are heavily, you know, in the media and like Instagram and stuff now. I just feel like they're heavily like pressured to look a certain way, and that it is changing, isn't it? They're like strong, not skinny, but also training for performance, where the, like you said, the secondary advantage of training for performance is that you look great anyway. So
exactly,
it like being able to train for something and put your energy into that is going to give you a healthier relationship and a goal and a reason to go and like complete the sessions and be consistent. So
100%. I don't think this isn't a bad thing, but I don't think in that gym, from the guys that work there, I've been given a compliment of like, oh, you look really attractive, you look this, you look like you looks great. It's like, that was really strong, well done. Or sandbag over there, great, like you, like that's amazing that you did that in that race. It's never like appearance. Like, to be honest, they're like, you're so tiny, why go do some weights, like you could be no stronger. Like that's more of the, you get like more of a banter side of it. It's never focused on how anybody looks, it's just how well have you done at that thing, how well have you performed. You just over time, if you just keep hearing that, just changes it. Like, I'm a very different person to the person I was before I joined, for many different reasons, and that's probably one of them. It's just, it's performance and it's fun.
And I think like that's what, like, hopefully like some people can take away from this, that like joining I know a lot of people are apprehensive about joining a gym and training with others, but like the benefits that can come from it definitely outweigh that maybe first day when you step in there and you do feel a bit nervous. And even hearing you kind of speak there, like you felt nervous as a coach, coaching 20 people. And I remember the first time I took my first like group session with 15-20 people, and I was kind of like, Faye, I don't know, am I gonna be okay? Like, and she's like, yeah, you're fine, like go for it. But like even we get it on the other side of it. So if anyone listening is a bit like apprehensive about going to a gym, then hopefully this gives them the reassurance that like, there's definitely a lot more benefits that outweigh it and can also push you in the performance side of things to make you feel comfortable. And like, I'm sure you program, you know, all the workouts have scaled options, and people don't know what you're doing. Like, no one's watching you as much as you think they're watching you. Like, no one's counting your calories on your machine. Like, it's just
I always say that. I'm like, I think a lot of time people walk in the gym and they think that everybody's looking at them. A lot of time everyone's looking at themselves. They really are. They're very focused on themselves, and they're probably thinking the same thing that you're thinking, is everybody's looking at me. Or everybody's thinking this a lot of the time. So it's like, I was trying to say, like in my sessions, I do a lot of like the team workouts. I'm like, you never leave someone behind. Like, if you're running, we've got like a hill outside. I'm like, if you're running, you stay with that person. You don't leave people behind. You work together, because you could get halfway through the workout and you've run off at the beginning, and then someone comes in and they absolutely smash you at burpees or thrusters, and they're much better at that. So just play to your strengths, work as a team, and you're much more likely to get through that workout much quicker than if you just run off and leave your partner or your teammates. And I think I hear that a lot of people being like, I don't want to let people down. I don't want to come into a team workout and be the worst one. I'm like, it's not about that. It's about building a community of people that you just all work together and get towards the end goal. I think that's what I try and emphasize, is people just get so scared. I'm like, you don't need to be scared. Like, I get it, because like you said, I get scared, but just take that first step and come in and say, I'm new. Like I haven't been here before. And like, I try and always check to be like, is anybody new, and can they be put with someone that's very welcoming? You know what I mean? Like, not that everybody isn't, but just someone that's like better at kind of guiding someone around. So I think it's finding the right group of people, right, and the right gym to join. And and like, if not, go take a friend with you, drag them along, put them through it as well.
Absolutely. So what about Hyrox then? Obviously you've been programming for Manor and you've done Hyrox yourself, do you have like any tips for our listeners, like maybe 3 top tips for either training or when you're competing?
Yeah, I think I've done it a few times. I've done single female pairs, women's open pro, and then I've done the women's doubles pro that came out last year or this year.
Yeah.
They're all very different races, I have to say. Like, yeah, there's different tips you could do for each of them, but I think for me,
what's your favorite?
I like, do you know what? I thought I was a bit of an introvert and I liked training by myself. And I was like, I'm solo, it's really hard. It's such a different race. I went and did doubles with my partner now, and I was like, it's like a HIIT workout for an hour. It's chaos, but it's like, it's really good, and I actually really enjoyed it. I think we'd both done it solo, and she'd done it with other people, and then we kind of came together and did it, and we were like, oh, this is actually really fun, and you can actually enjoy it quite a lot, and you can really like work on the tactics and all that kind of stuff. You can do that when you're alone as well, but you can play to different people's strengths. Like, we're both quite short, so the ski erg, and now having to let go of it at the top is very annoying.
Oh yeah, that's like a massive disadvantage, isn't it? If you're not
it's
like
back
short.
up too. It's like jumping up to grab a ski. But yeah, I think I definitely I like doubles a lot now. Women's pro, solo, less so. It's very heavy. I remember the first time I did it, and I was like, I'm going to fly around on this first run, because you get excited and you're fine. I think I went in like 3rd on the run. I was like, great, here we go. And I got to 3rd and I was like, oh, it's not moving. It's just not moving. I'm going to have to pick it up. So I tried to pick it up. I like pushed it along. Even that I couldn't do. I was like, right, it's going to be a slow sled. I think that's one of the tips I'd say is train heavier with everything. Like, even if you're open, if you're doing pro, add another 25, 35 kilos onto that sled, because at the end of the day, even if in training you're like, this is taking ages, you will get there, and it will just feel easier if you get used to working with those heavier loads. Because that, for me, like, I'll always now train with those heavier lunges. Like, I've tried to do broad jumps with a vest because I was so bad at them, to try and make myself better. Like, it's just train heavier to get there, and it should a little bit lighter depending on the carpets and all that kind of stuff that you've got going on. What's the other one? I'd say, I think for me, did Manchester pairs earlier in this year. It's so hot in some of those venues. Like, it's crazy hot. So, and it's not the venues, but it's just the volume of people that are going through. So I got a bit rude awakening. I was like, I'm very dehydrated. Like, I got really, really hot. So I think now when I did it in London, I just had a lot of electrolytes before to try and get those in. And obviously you had like different brands as you went round that you could drink, but it's quite hard to run and you were splashing electrolytes all over your face. So I tried to make sure I had enough beforehand to get me through. I knew it would take me an hour-ish, or an hour and a bit more. So it's like, I know if I have enough and I have a little top up after like the row or something, that'll help actually keep me going. I think the other one's just like, enjoy it. Like, it is such a fun race to do. Like, and you've got so many different people there, like different categories, different people doing different strengths, and like, don't write yourself out when you get to that first. Say you get to ski erg and you come off 40th, that doesn't write you out of the race, because as I said earlier in those workouts, you've got so many different strengths and weaknesses that you might get to sled, not me, and push it really, really quickly, right? So you'll then catch back up. So yeah, enjoy it, and just don't write yourself off. Don't get disheartened if you come off a little bit later on something, because there's always opportunities to catch people up. If you're going for a time, if you're not going for a time, just be there, take the atmosphere in. If it's your first one, it's getting a base for it, right? And seeing if you actually like it. Some people might do it and be like, no, don't want to do that again. Other people are like, yes, I absolutely loved it. So just enjoy it. It's good fun.
Yeah, it is. It's such a good race. And it is like, there's something for everyone, isn't there, with all the different categories, and being able to push yourself on your own, do it with a partner, do a relay, like.
Yeah, I think you'll find out when you do that first one. So if you, like I did solo by myself, and I was like, I'm only ever going to do solo, and then got persuaded to do doubles, and was like, well, actually, I do quite like that, actually, because you can really hit it hard and then recover afterwards. I think it's try a few different ones as well, and just to see which one you like and you want to do again.
Have you got any booked?
Yeah, I'm going to do London in November, is it?
November, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll do London, and then I'd like to do another one abroad, because I did Amsterdam.
London as singles?
No, I'm going to do doubles in London, female doubles, and then I'd like to do another one, like abroad, because we did Amsterdam last season 4, I can't remember. That was great. That was the best venue I've been to. It was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like very open. It wasn't too like crowded. It was quite small. The only thing was the burpee broad jumps was just one long line.
Oh, man.
One long line. That was the only part. I was like,
there's a long way to burpee.
You could just see the end. It was like never ending. Like, when's it happening? But the whole venue was great. I'd say the atmosphere wasn't as good, because I don't think at that point it was quite as big there. But in terms of getting around it, it was really, really good. Like, just nice, and it was a really quick course. I think I quite liked.
Yeah,
in and out, like the most recent one at London, where it was like ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, it was a really windy course, isn't it? Like, in a way, I quite liked it, because you could kind of like switch off a bit, because it wasn't just like a lap. But at the same time, like some of the turns when there was like quite a few people trying to get round tight corners and stuff was interesting.
It was different. It was different. Like also the coming in and then going out and having to remember. I was like, how many times have I been in? How many have I been out? Once you did it the first time, it actually went quite well. Once you kind of figured it out, which was quite good.
Yeah, Faye
I knew this was coming. I was like, Emma's waiting to say something.
Faye took a while to figure it out, didn't you, Faye?
we had a standstill argument on the first run, because I thought it was like, did it say you see the in 3 times or something?
Yeah.
And you run like 2 laps. Basically, it was like 2 full laps, because you went past it. Like, basically, I mixed it up and decided it was like you see the in twice. You're going on the second in. So like I went to go in, and Em's like, where are you going? And I was like, going in. She's like, no, don't go in. And then to the point where I couldn't keep running, because I was about to like run in. So then I had to stop and have this whole conversation. And Em's like, there's no one in there. Like there was definitely a pair in front of us. She's like, there was definitely 2 girls in front of us. I've already got. And like after this, I was like, honestly, it felt like we were there for like 5 minutes having an argument about whether to go in or not. And Em was definitely right. And then I decided I would like be the one that decided how many laps we were doing and keep count of it, because Em wasn't feeling very well that day. You were like struggling a little bit, weren't you? And like you were just coming back from injury, so I was like, you just focus on like keeping with me on the runs and I'll do everything else. And then literally straight after that first lap, we were like, yeah, Em can do the
then I just screamed at her each time, okay, in, like behind it, even though I'm like running behind her trying to keep up. But I was like, I knew there's a reason that I do this job. Like there's a reason that I'm usually in charge of it. It was quite funny, but you know,
why are we arguing? Like what's happened?
I know, I was like, why are we not going in? Like, let's go in. She's like, no, we're not going in. And I'm like, yeah, but we've got to go in. And she's like, no, we don't. And I'm like, we're just standing there. And then in the end, I was like, the whole way around the next lap, I was like, really sorry, I think I've just cost us like 5 minutes of my whole conversation.
We had that with the wall balls in Amsterdam, because obviously some of the judges weren't speaking English. Man. And I was like 75, and then he kept counting, and I was like, what's happening? How are we on? And then Lucy turned around and went, we're done. He was like, no, you've got to do 100. And I was like, no, it's 75. He's like, it's 100. I was like, 75. We just kept arguing. She was like, what are you doing? Run over the line. It's 75. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, fine. Just over. I was just like, why were you stood there? I was like, because I was right. She was like, it doesn't matter. Over the line. I was like, oh.
You were right, so let's go.
Yeah. I think sometimes you've just got to just take it as it. I mean, we were pretty laid back, because that was like a race for us. Like I'm just coming back from injury, and we were just seeing how it was going, so it was quite funny. But you just think sometimes,
having a domestic mid-course is just what you need.
Relationship.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know when to admit when I'm wrong.
But I was going to go back to mental strength and Hyrox related. I mean, obviously you have incredible mental strength to be able to burpee for 24 hours, but do you like have any tips for getting through Hyrox? How do you find like the physical and mental sides of the race?
Yeah, I think I've done it. I think I've done it 5 or 6 times now, and I think sometimes you get there and like sometimes it's your day, right? And you set out on that first run, you're like, it's my day. I'm feeling good. Like I'm running on those runs. I think it's the days where it doesn't feel quite so good that you need that mental side of it. Like I think Manchester for me, we set off and I could instantly tell it wasn't my day. I felt like it was really hard. I think mentally I wasn't there. We had quite a late start time, and that kind of I got in my own head about it, and I was like, what's happening here? I'd normally just be able to just push on and go through it, but we got to the sleds, and I was like, you're gonna have to go first. And normally it's me that pushes it first. She was like, that's not the plan. I was like, it needs to be the plan because I'm not going to be able to push that. And I kind of think I just kind of took that first length, and I was just like, look, you've got a maximum of an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 30 minutes here. You know that you can get it done in that. Just try and break it down to each station. So I kind of like broke it down. And in my head, I was like, I know, because it was the pro, we hadn't done women's pro doubles before. So I think for me, I was the sleds are obviously heavier, right? And it's only really like four or five stations that you know are going to be heavier. So for me, I was like, get past the two sleds, and you've already done 25% of the bit that's probably the most horrendous and the bit that people find most difficult. And I just keep trying to break it down. I think for me in that race, it was like, right, break it down into 4 quarters, get them done. Once you get to halfway, you know that you can kind of get through that, the lunges, the burpees, and all that kind of stuff. It's just taking it into segments. I do the same thing when I'm running. If I know I've got to run 20k, I'll be like, okay, that's 4 5ks. That's 2.
Yeah.
I know I can do that, right? So I think that's
running maths.
Yeah, running maths, which is really hard to do when you're running.
I struggle as well, believe it or not.
Never guess.
Guess who does the running maths in our runs? Oh god.
Yeah, I think it's for me. It's just break it down into sections, and especially if you've never I've done it a few times, but I still do that because I think it can be quite daunting to look at and go, there's 8 kilometers and 8 stations. Just tick, 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 tick. I think when you get past that halfway point, that for me is when I'm like, right, game on. I know I can get through this. I mean, the farmers' carries are a dream, aren't they? So when you get to that point, you're like, woohoo! It's a little bit of a rest.
I've changed my mind on the farmers' carry
Really?
since we did it in London, but it's probably because I was like, I haven't done as much run training because of my injury. So I was pushing really quite hard on the runs to try and hold on to Faye. And then we got to the farmer's carry and I was like, well, I'm pretty much bloody running through this. And then I've got to run again. I was like, where's my rest? There isn't really any rest. So I changed my mind. I used to really like it. And now I'm like, no, I don't. It takes away my rest whilst Faye's burping and I can just stand there and have a little second. It's like, no, I've got to run behind her on the farmer's carry as well.
That's actually quite true because you end up going quite quickly through them. So
yeah. It's got to be it's the shortest station by far, surely. Yeah. So yeah.
So it's fine. But
and then you talk about running maths and obviously we're sticking on the mental game now. You just did a marathon as well, didn't you, in Manchester?
Yeah.
So how did you find that? Mentally, did you hit a barrier? How did you break that down the same way? Or
I'd actually had probably because I do a lot more strength training, the best training for a marathon that I'd ever had. I knew I wanted to get a PB. I knew what I needed to do. I had it all written down on my hand, the times. And this obviously it never goes to plan when you have it written on your hand. Also because I wiped my head and I wiped it all off my head at the start. Good. That's really good. I think I'd had the best training going up to it and then got to the marathon and felt pretty good for 9 miles. Then my knee went and I was like, what's happening? Suddenly having to training, just started to really, really hurt. And at that point I was like, right, to be fair, actually, I thought the quicker I run this, the quicker it's over. So just crack on and just see how you feel. I think in that point I did the same. I broke it down. I had podcasting. We can't do that higher, but podcasts for me when running, I do the same things with music. If I had music on, I'll be like, that's 4 songs, so that's 3 minutes per song, and that means it's 3, 6, 9, 12 minutes. And I don't actually like to look at how far I've gone on a watch. So I'll always have it on my heart rate rather than the distance or the speed, because I can kind of guess how fast I'm going. So it'll only click for me every mile. I work in miles, not kilometers. So every mile it will tell me.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
brutal. I like a kilometer.
I don't need it beeping at me. It's the noise. Like, no. I don't need to hear that. So yeah, in that I just kind of I did a lot of half marathons last year. So we did like 12 half marathons last year to raise some money for charity as well. So I knew I could run a half. Like I was like that. It's just 2 half marathons. You've done that 12 times in a year. You've done that lots of times in training for a marathon. So just like tick them off. I think the longer you do something, like you do a 10K, it's 2 5Ks. You do a half marathon, it's 4 5Ks. You do a marathon, 2 half marathons, right? So I just think mentally, the training for that helps anyway. Like the marathon training itself is the bit that you go, okay, actually looking back, I already ran 20 miles in training. It's another 6. It's quite a lot. It did feel a lot at 20 miles, but it's just, if I hadn't done any of the training, that would have been horrendous. Like, I can't think anyone that goes off and just runs a marathon just out of the blue. How?
Yeah. They'll probably be as broken as you after the burpee world record that I suggest the next day if you haven't trained.
No.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just breaking it down. And I think like just if you've done the training, you can do it. And even if you haven't done the training, your body's much more capable of doing the things that you don't think it's capable of.
Yeah, that's true.
One step in front of the other, and just get there and have a lot of support on the course. That's what you need. People to scream at you and tell you to keep going. So
yeah, and I think that's similar for Hyrox, isn't it? It's the same thing. I think is just if you put the training in, if you get to that start line and you've put the training in, and if you just keep doing like one step in front of the other, one more burpee, or just keep going on the ski, just one more pull, like you'll finally get to the end of a Hyrox, and like you said, chunking it down, just being like, okay, cool, let's just get this station done, and then I'll get back out on the run, and then just focus on the laps on the run, and just keeping the momentum going and the movement, and you should get to the end.
Yeah, exactly. I think also if you look back at your training, there's a chance, like I definitely had it with marathon training and some Hyrox training, where you've had a pretty dodgy run, or you've had a pretty dodgy training session, and you've probably pushed through and carried on. I think that for me is when those things happen. Like I had it in training, and it was just not a good run. And I was like, remember this, because when you hit that wall and you've carried on, like don't look at it and be like, oh, I'm such a disappointment, I'm such a failure. I didn't actually, I had to stop during my run. I had to walk for 20 minutes. Like, so that's the point when you look back and you go, but actually I carried on and did it. And not every training run's going to be the best thing ever, but it's kind of like taking those little moments, putting them in your pocket and putting them back out when you need them during the actual races, which I think works quite well.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good advice. I like it.
Yeah.
Faye, do you have anything else to ask or add before we go on to the last cheeky insight questions?
No, I think that's been really, really cool. I just wanted to hear more about the burpee record and why anyone would want to do it.
Don't get any ideas.
No, nah. I mean, I feel like if I was gonna do it, or if someone was gonna do it, I feel like pacing it would be a better idea. But and maybe wearing like, I don't know, doing a bunch of wrist exercises, or
actually, I don't know what muscles I'd be working here, but you're gonna have to.
I know, just even I guess loads of push-ups, or I don't know. Did your triceps hurt? Did you could you move your tricep
joint like here? That was the worst. Like extending my arm afterwards, that was not fun. Yeah, it was
like repetitive strain injury, isn't it? Like tennis elbow.
Yeah.
Even now, like we're doing this. Like I did it with one of my colleagues. It was like 100 calories, 100 burpees every day.
Oh yeah, I saw that the other day. Did you do that for a month?
Yeah. Even that, my elbows by the end of it, I was like, God, I remember this. So yeah, not going to do that again. Took quite a long time each day. So it's quite boring.
Oh, fair play.
Full of crazy ideas. I love it. Well, we have 8 questions for you that we usually finish off on, just to get an insight into like your Hyrox racing. I think we might have covered a couple, but first one I've got is, what shoes do you wear to race Hyrox?
I've actually changed them. I used to wear trail shoes just for grip with the sleds, like the Nike Pegasus trail shoes. And then now I actually wear Saucony's So like Saucony Speed Endorphin, the new ones, they've actually got a good grip on the bottom, and it like I've always been into Nike, and just because they look nice, right? It's like, come on, get a more functional shoe. And and got Sauconys, and they are great. I told all my clients to get them a couple of more than for Hyrox. They were like, they've got such good grip on them.
Yeah. We did the exact same. That we wore trail shoes for our first Hyrox because of the grip, and then we changed to the Saucony ones. They are good.
Yeah, they're just light. I think the trail shoes could be quite heavy.
I agree.
Right, but Saucony is just so light.
So light. I still love running in Nikes, though. The Vaporflies. Like if I'm just running, I choose them.
I really want to.
I think I had the conversation with you, didn't I? We were having a conversation about trainers. We had a whole conversation about the Nike Vaporflies and the Alpha. Like, I remember it now. I was just thinking about that. I was like, definitely had a chat about it.
So I need to get those now.
Okay, next one. I think you may have already given this away. Was what is your favorite Hyrox venue?
Oh yeah, definitely Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
I'd go there now. It's a cool city as well, so you get to Hyrox. It's like win. Right.
Win-win. Yeah. Next one, your favorite Hyrox station and why?
Not the burpees, as I said. Probably down there at number 8. I think the ski erg, to be fair. Like it's that first one, right? You're on a high because you've just done that lap. You are pretty gassed because everybody gets excited, and then you're in, and it's just, I don't know. I love the ski erg. I love that it's a powerful machine. Like you just feel good doing it as well. You get great photos as well. That's also
everyone's hair like this. Like.
Yeah, exactly.
What about the run afterwards?
Yeah, not the best. But I think the run from row into run and the lunges, that is awful.
Yeah,
actually,
I do find after the lunges, the run hard. That's I think my worst. Like even though it's the last run, I don't know. I don't have anything else to give. I'm like, tell myself, oh, this is the last one. And I'm like, yeah, but my legs are like ruined.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. So yeah, ski erg, definitely.
Ski erg, love it. Okay, next is, if you could do a doubles Hyrox, I know you have already done one, but is there anyone in the world that you would want to do one with? Can be anyone.
I thought about this question. I was like, it's such a hard question to answer because could go for someone really fun, like that would be completely random. Like, I love Mariah Carey, but you can't imagine doing a Hyrox with her.
Oh, right? That would be so good though, wouldn't it?
It would be great. I don't know how long it would take to get around, but it would be
you'd have a great time doing it. Like
it'd be so much fun. I just don't think I'd persuade her to sign up with me. So thinking about, probably couldn't get this person either, but I'd really like to see the transition. Obviously some people have done it from like CrossFit to Hyrox, and there's obviously some people that have done that now, but I mean, it'd be pretty cool to do it TNA, wouldn't it? Like, just absolutely.
Yeah.
She'd cover the sleds for you, no problem.
Yeah, I'd be like, you just do everything, and I will just be there next to you. But yeah, just that like movement from that sport into another sport. Like, how much can it? How obviously she's an incredible athlete, like Olympian and everything like that. So I think coming from that side of it to that, just be really interesting to see.
Yeah, she's a good runner as well, isn't she? She's not too big. No. She's quite a lean, but she's still quite tiny, isn't she? Although she's like strong, she's still quite
she's small. So I think it'd be really interesting to see that side of it. And also you probably get your ass whooped by her because she's so fast.
Oh, I know. I wonder if she'll ever do one. It'd be so cool to. I mean, like everyone will be going wild if she did it.
Yeah, it'd be great. So yeah, probably her.
Cool. I like it. I mean, I like both answers. Mariah Carey would be cool as well. Next one is, do you fuel for Hyrox? And if so, what do you use and when do you take it?
I don't tend to fuel during the race.
Okay.
I think, I'll have electrolytes and stuff just beforehand, and normally I have like Cliff Blocks just before I go, just so I've got that extra bit of energy. A lot of it depends on what time you're racing, to be honest. Like, I'm much more of an early person, so I love racing in the mornings. London, we were actually the first wave of the weekends. That was quite early to get there, and getting food in that early. I think 10-11 is like the perfect time. Manchester, we were on so late that you kind of got a whole day and you lose that. I didn't know how to eat in that point, but I think now I've learned, like, if it's in the morning, I'll have porridge first thing, then I'll have a bagel like an hour before we go. So like quite light, nothing like one of those small ones. Cliff blocks, electrolytes them off. And then I tend to, because I know that it's probably going to be like hour to an hour and 15 within that range. I'm like, I can get through it. I know I probably should feel and just like doing weight for my body. I don't find it, I need it in that sense. And then afterwards, just food and protein, basically. I normally a glass of wine to celebrate. So
and a glass of rosé and sign up to something else.
Yeah, something else stupid. So yeah, that's kind of what I tend to do. Like I find the fueling beforehand is much more important for me than actually during. And I probably could get that extra however much percent if I learned and started doing fueling during. But I guess that's something to learn as I go during the races. So
yeah.
There's definitely a mix, isn't there, between people that do and people that don't. It's like there isn't one solid. I think it's probably evenly split, I would say.
Yeah, it just depends on what you're used to. Like I'm doing like runs and marathons. I don't tend to eat like take on that much. I just do a lot of it beforehand and I'll be full of carbs and then I'm off. So yeah.
No, that's good. Next one is, what's your favorite type of training session for Hyrox?
Intervals are my favorite.
Like running intervals.
Yeah, running intervals. Like I like the switch between intervals too, like the exercise and stuff. I find you get that when you do like simulations and all that kind of stuff, and then generally like conditioning pieces. So the intervals themselves, like, and I like running, so that's probably the best thing for me.
Do you do your intervals outside, on a track, on a treadmill?
Depends. So normally on the treadmill, or as I said in MCP, we've got like a big cage, you've seen it, and you run through, we've got a hill that you run up. So when we do like simulations, we'll do 3 laps, which is a kilometer. So I'll try and do the kilometer repeats on there because it goes up a hill, which is a bit harder, I guess. So try and do on that to get used to it, and then when you're running on flat, it's much nicer. So either that, or I find treadmills, to be fair, you can set the speed and it kind of forces you to run at that speed. When you're outside, I certainly can get a bit lazy and be like, oh, it's all right, just get a little bit slower. Whereas if I set the treadmill to X kilometer per hour, I'm like, can't touch it now, and see how you go. So
go. Cool. Why should someone sign up for their first Hyrox?
I think if you've been like, say, I think firstly, if you're a runner and you want to try something different, like I would say to people, it's like the half marathon of fitness. It's the same thing again and again and again. You're always going to be doing the same exercises, different weights, but it's something that you can actually do and progress at. Like a lot of people run to progress. They want to get a new PB, they want to do this. And you've got to the point that you maybe want a little bit of a break from running, or you want to try something different. This is a really nice way to keep that structure in and that element of progressing, getting better and trying to get a better time, but just having a bit of like varied training. I think it's made me definitely a better runner in the other way. By doing Hyrox, I now can push myself a lot more when I run, because I know compromised running is way worse than actual running. So it kind of translates quite well, I think.
And the strength element, I guess, as well. There's like quite a lot of runners that don't really add any strength to their training. So, you know, the strength element of Hyrox is actually quite good, like crosses over to running quite well, you know, the lunges and even like the sleds and wall balls and stuff, just getting people to get stronger.
Yeah, like the sleds as well. They're really good at like helping you with your running, biomechanics and all that kind of stuff. So even that, switching that back, I was like, whoa, I'm actually stronger in both senses of it. So I think, if you're a runner, like, it's a good way to try a different style of training, but keep that race element in. And if you haven't ever tried it before, like I said earlier, it's just fun. Like you can do it with a friend, you can do it a team of 4. It's a really good community, and obviously it's grown so much from when I first did it in 2020, whatever it was. But it is like you can go there and you can meet so many different people. I met a woman. I did a women's event a few years ago, and she came and she really liked the idea of Hyrox. And then when I went to London this time, I hadn't seen her since. She found me and she was like, "Oh, do you remember I said to you I'd do a Hyrox? I'm doing it this weekend." And it's because I saw you doing it and you told me about it, and it was amazing. There's now like a PT and doing all this other stuff. So I was like, that's in itself, that's a story to be like, just try it. Like, it's completely changed her life, and now she's a PT and doing Hyrox.
That's so cool.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. Oh, it's nice when you like someone also comes up to you to tell you as well, so you know she's like, yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
Last one is there anyone that you would like to see on our podcast, or a type of person that you'd like us to speak to and find out more about?
I think it'd be quite cool to have maybe people like the person I just spoke about, right? Someone that's like not normal people, everyone's a normal person, but people that like aren't in the fitness industry or aren't doing this, people that have gone, I've never done anything like this before, and then they've gone and done their first one and they've got to this point and then this point. Like it's like as an example, Anya Culling, she runs and like right, she just did the marathon and then now
she's a pro,
unbelievable. So like I think that story is quite cool. Like obviously now she's in that with someone that's kind of progressing and they're at that stage where they're actually realizing, oh, I'm quite good at this and I'm actually quite enjoying it. Like hearing from I think that would inspire other people to go, I could give it a try. Like
that's
other people could do it. Like it's just an inspiring story, I think. So yeah, normal people
doing like cool things.
Cool things. Like I think that's one of the most interesting things for me to hear, and like it inspires me to do other things. So
yeah, agreed.
Yeah, definitely. Good answer.
Yeah, I love it. So Lauren, where can everyone find you for your next crazy challenge if they want to follow along or just learn more about burpees and Hyrox and Rose and Manor PT?
I'm on Instagram at Lauren Sullivan. I think it's just _PT. So I'm on there, and obviously Manor London, you can follow them as well. I work there, so I do a lot of stuff for them. And I just kind of post on there general things, my dog, burpees, training. It's just kind of, if you want any tips about running, I kind of post stuff about that. So yeah, and if you want to come and do any Hyrox simulations and stuff like that, we've got a really cool space. So if you want to come down and do one in Victoria and London, we'll probably do quite a few throughout the summer and later this year. So come along, it's good fun, and go for brunch afterwards, which is always a winner.
Happy days. Yeah, awesome. We will definitely be down when we're down in London this summer, won't we?
Yes,
we will be down. But thank you for your time today. Thanks for elaborating on the burpee world record. I've been waiting ages to ask you about it. Thank you so much for listening, guys. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it on your socials. Give Lauren a follow. If you want to follow us, we're at RadChicks on Instagram. And if you are feeling kind, give us a subscribe button and maybe a cheeky review or a thumbs up. We would appreciate it. And we will see you on the next episode.